Good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd. I usually record on Mondays, but yesterday was Labor Day weekend. I always have Monday off, but my husband got Labor Day off. And I thought I'd still be able to record, but I couldn't. He's very distracting. Either we were actually doing stuff together, or my computer is on the same floor as the giant TV, so he had the TV on, couldn't record. He talked on his phone for an hour and a half, couldn't record, because of course I was sitting right here getting ready to hit start. He had to talk down here, couldn't move to a different floor or a room. Didn't happen. Oh, and then by the time he got off the phone, it was pitch black outside. And there's not enough lighting in my house. Actually, it's pitch black outside right now because it's 6:30, and I just got back from dropping him off at work. So I'm using this plant light that he has. Supposedly, it's being used to light all his bonsai trees up, but I'm using it as light because it's pitch black outside, and the lighting in my house is not enough. So yes, my name is Lindsay, Knitwhim on Ravelry. I think my blog still has me as Theo, my all-time favorite nickname ever from ages ago, but that's neither here nor there. And I guess we'll just get started with works in progress. We'll start with the behemoth work in progress that you have already seen. I'm in the middle of a row, so it's really not going to look like anything today. Actually, I'm trying to find, okay, here we go. Oh, where did it go? Okay, here is the little stitch marker from last episode, and as you can see, I have made considerably, oh, where's the light? Considerably less progress than last time. There we go. Haha. So, I'm maybe an inch. Oh well. I wanted to get to row 70 by the end of August, but I didn't even work on it, so that didn't happen. But you know, I just need a break from that thing. It's big. It's big. So that's that. Then the next one is the Renegade mitts that my sister sort of worked up. I finished the gusset increases, so I'm making progress. I'm not sure exactly how much more of the ribbing I'm going to do. I'm just going to go up to like here or something with the ribbing, and then switch to just green and do seed stitch. And then there's some kind of buttonhole, and then I'll bind off. So I'm pretty close to finishing. I'm going over to Amanda's house today to watch Face Off. So hopefully this will be mostly done by the end of the day, maybe. Maybe Face Off will be so exciting I won't be able to knit. We'll see. Works in progress. The only other work in progress I have is a spoiler. It is a mystery lace cowl that I'm doing. It's my first time doing a mystery cowl, so that's very exciting for me. The way, if you haven't heard of a mystery cowl before, the way it works is that the designer releases the pattern in pieces, and you only are told the yarn that you need and your gauge, and you don't have a picture of what it's going to look like. So the first, and the pieces are called clues. So the first clue was released on September 1st, and it was really, really short and quick to do. If you don't make any mistakes, you could finish it in one day, which is what I did. And then clue 5 will come out on the 5th, and I think each clue gets a little bit longer because clue 1 was really short. Clue 5 will be a little bit longer, and then I think the next clue is on the 10th, and then after that there's an even longer span of time until the 4th and final clue. So that's really exciting. So if you're participating and you don't want to be spoiled, don't look. Although I suspect that you don't care, because on the chatter thread, people are just putting up their photos without any kind of warning. So thankfully I was already like almost done, and I already knew what my finished clue was going to look like. But I was just reading the chatter thread, and then bam, there's a picture, and then bam, there was another one. And it was just like, wow, I'm so glad that I don't care, because that would have been really upsetting if I had actually, like, no warning. Thought you were supposed to warn people about that, but okay. Without further ado, I can't pronounce the title of the designer. The pattern is called Los Glorious or something like that. I'll put it up. I fail as a linguist. Here it is. You do this weird provisional cast on, which involved knitting 8 rows of 3 stitches and then picking up a stitch from each of the garter bumps. It was kind of interesting, and then obviously then picking up the 3 provisional cast on stitches. And it's just kind of neat. You have these rows of plain knitting and then these rows of yarn over increases. There's a yarn over increase row, and then there's a make one knit one increase row, and they sort of alternate, so that there are hidden increases that you don't see, and then there's the pretty yarn over increase row. And then you get this kind of interesting, like, bubble pattern. You know what this little shape reminds me of? It reminds me of those bubble pipes. Do you know what I'm talking about? It was one of my favorite things to do in summer, is to just blow bubbles. And you have the normal bubble wands, but they're always making like other weird ways to blow bubbles other than the wands. And nowadays they have cool stuff. Like, they have guns, and like they have this really cute little bubble machine for children that's in the shape of a fish. It's so cute. But when I was a kid, we had bubble pipes, and it was literally like this pipe, and the part that the bubbles went in looked like this. It was this shape. And then you just blew on it, and the bubbles were supposed to come out, but more often than not, you just ended up sucking bubbles into your mouth, and it was disgusting. But I don't know why I thought of that. So that's it for works in progress. Obviously, I have spinning work in progress going on my wheel. Malia from the Yarn Raising podcast is doing a new to you spin along, and I'm participating. You can enter the same 4-ounce yarn up to 3 times, as long as you have something new in each of the categories, a new tool, a new fiber, or a new technique. I'm gonna, the first entry that I'm doing, hopefully I'll be able to do more than 1 entry, but my first entry is 8 ounces instead of 4, so it'll put me at a kind of disadvantage to people who are only doing 4 ounces. It's 8 ounces of the Max Lochten. It's the sheep with 4 horns. I love that sheep so much, just because it looks badass. 4 ounces of that, 8 ounces of that, and that's a new fiber for me. I'm not going to count my wheel because I've spent £1 on it. Hello, and I've had it for a month. But I'm going to 3-ply it, and it's going to be like a traditional, for real 3-ply with 3 bobbins, and not a chain ply, which is chain plying is the only kind of 3-ply I've done so far. It's going to be fun because I don't have a legit Lazy Kate. I just have the Lazy Kate that comes attached to your wheel, and it only holds 2 bobbins. So, I mean, it's fine for 2 bobbins, but it only holds 2. So I'm going to have to come up with some kind of MacGyver 3rd bobbin system. Probably it'll involve a shoebox and a DPN. Hopefully that won't be horrible, but we haven't gotten that far. I've split the 8 ounces into 2.5 ounce balls, a little bit more than 2.5, but about that much balls, and I'm spinning each one on its own bobbin. I'm about halfway done with my first 2.5 ounces, so fun stuff. I guess I could show you my other spinning work in progress. I'm still working on is the cotton, and it's taking a lot longer because it's tiny and I almost never work on it. But I don't know if you remember the last time I showed this to you. I had like a cotton up to here, and then I realized that I was going to need to make my cot taller, so like I'm going up. It's kind of cool. I have 1 ounce of this color, which is a charcoal cotton. I know the color is really bad today because of I would just wait until the sunlight came out and record, but I actually have a really busy day planned for today. I'm going to spend all of this morning at Amanda's house knitting and washing face off and doing cool stuff. Then I'm going to pick my husband up from work, and then some friends and I are going to the Goodwill primarily to look for Halloween costume material. I am planning on being a corpse bride, so I need a white dress of some sort. I could wear my wedding dress, but I think my mother would kill me. And then, I have to find stuff for my husband's costume, and they have to find stuff for their costumes. Also, this Goodwill, I haven't been there, but I have heard that it has a huge library and that paperback books are only like $1. And they have legit craft books, like awesome knitting and crochet resource books for $1. The Goodwill. So definitely we'll be checking that out, and you will definitely be hearing about that in my next podcast. So that's why you have to deal with the bad. So yeah, this is an ounce braid. I feel like I'm not even a third done with it yet. It's just like, there's so much. Like when you spin an ounce on your wheel, you're like, that wasn't much. Oh, I'm sad. Where's I want more fiber. When you spin an ounce of cotton on a drop spindle, you're just like, how much longer is this gonna take? Oh my god. Plus I'm spinning like super, super thin in comparison to the wool. So that's the other thing. It goes a lot farther the thinner you spin it. Unfortunately. And now I've got white cotton fiber all over my bag. So, works in progress. Dude, this is going to be a short... Oh, new objects. I cast on a new project. This is for Fresh Stitches has a tiny along going. It's from now until September 18th. What you have to do is crochet one of her patterns. I think it has to be one of her creature patterns, and the yarn smaller than worsted weight. Her patterns are written for worsted weight. Most people tend to be, who've done it already, tend to be using like sock yarn or crochet floss, but I don't have any of that stuff, so I'm using some leftover Sport Decay from a baby blanket I made like 3 years ago or something ridiculous. Not that long, maybe like a year and a half or 2 years. So I'm doing Martin the Snail, and my printer is running out of ink, so I don't know if you can really see that it's a snail. I picked this pattern. I was originally going to do the slug, and then I found out that this pattern is the same price as the slug pattern, and hello, it's basically the slug pattern with a shell on top. So buying this one is like getting two for the price of one. Just saying. So yeah, I'm working on that. I started it yesterday, in the brief moments that husband left me alone long enough to crochet. So these are the antenna for my snail, and then these are the eyes, and then I have black safety eyes to put in the centers to make pupils. These are the eyes, and then that's it. And that's all I've done. The body is going to be blue, and then I have this like light gray that's going to be the color of the shell. Finished objects. I have a finished object this week. It is a hat that I knit for a coworker. I actually didn't think I'd be able to show it to you because the original plan, on Saturdays there's not a whole lot to do, and so I knit this project almost entirely at work. My original plan was to finish it at work on Saturday and then just give it to him and you wouldn't see it. And what had happened was he had a very, very clear idea in his head about what he wanted his hat to look like. He had a very specific level of slouchiness. So I knit the number of cables called for in the pattern, and then it's just 8 rows to decrease. And I didn't want to decrease until he tried it on and liked the slouchiness. And so hopefully, like, he tried it on, he's like, yeah, it needs like a couple more inches. And I'm like, well, the decreases are 8 rows, and that's going to add like an inch. And he's like, that's enough. So I didn't knit at work on Saturday because for some unknown reason there were like gobs of people who did not belong there, who were just there, like roaming around randomly. And I mean, I know that I do my job correctly and that I get everything done in a timely manner and that my knitting is not making me unproductive at work. But yeah, from an outside perspective, if you're sitting at your desk knitting, it looks like you're not doing anything, which, I mean, I'm not doing anything whether I'm knitting or not, but they don't know that, so I didn't do it. So I finished it at home, which is why you get to see it. It's the Chelsea Market hat. I already had this favorited and I wanted it, so I was really pleased. Normally I'd be annoyed to knit something that was a paid for pattern that I had to buy and then knit for someone, but I didn't mind because I was going to buy it anyway. And it's knit with Vanna's Choice solid worsted. I can't figure out where the cable is on this. Okay, here it is. There's my cable. That's why I wait until the last bit to do this so that you don't have to stare at my wonderful hat hair forever afterwards. So it's Vanna's Choice solid. It's gray. I'm really pleased with this pattern. This is the large size, in case you're wondering, and the large size is for a 23-inch circumference. I think I could be making that up. His head was 23 inches, so this fits him a little bit tighter, but not by that much. My head is like a 21-inch circumference, so it's really not that big a difference. I really love this pattern. It looks amazing. It's one of my like the slouchy hats with the single giant cable going up is kind of a really popular design that a lot of people produced this year. This is definitely, I've knit like 2 other versions of this hat, like different variations. This is probably my favorite, honestly, just because this weird, like the ribbing and the purling up here was really relaxing to do. Like, you didn't need the pattern because you just knew what was going to happen. And I'm sorry, I'm like twirling. I hope this isn't distracting you. It was really relaxing. You didn't really have to memorize the pattern too much, and it looks awesome, I think. So I hope he's going to actually like it. And it's been a long time since I've knit anything out of acrylic. And I'm just pulling it all the way down. Like, see, I could pull it way down. It's been a long time since I've knit anything from acrylic, and I'm not a yarn snob or anything. Like, acrylic is cool, and it has its reasons. I do all of my crochet toys in acrylic because that's just what makes sense. But it's icky, and it's already like, it has this, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it on the camera, but it's already developing this fuzz, like this gross, like, and the fuzz is white, like it's gray, but the fuzz is like this lighter color. I don't think you can see it, but it's fuzzy, and I'm afraid it's going to start pilling really quickly. And even cheap wool wouldn't do this, and this is cheap acrylic. People give Red Heart a bad name because they say that Red Heart is crunchy and feels like plastic and itchy, but Red Heart actually has different versions, and the Red Heart Soft, I knit acrylic hats out of the Red Heart Soft for my sisters for Christmas last year, and it did not do that whole pilling thing. And I know sometimes it's a color thing, like within the same brand of yarn, like one color will have the problem and the other color won't, so maybe that's, I did do a yellow hat in Vanna's Choice that didn't do that pilling thing while I was knitting it anyway. I haven't seen it. It's been a year, so maybe it looks horribly gross now. Anyway, so that's my knitting finished object. I also have spinning finished object. So despite what I told you last time, I did go ahead and finish the last 4 ounces of my pound. So I finished my whole pound of white fiber. In 1 month, I spun a pound on my wheel. I didn't get all the same yarn. Obviously, I got different weights, but I spun a whole pound. I'm pretty cool with that. I like that. Spinning the singles has been pretty easy for me. I started out using the largest whirl, and the largest whirl on my bobbin, and that was fine for spinning the singles. But then when I went to plying the 2-ply was fine, but chain plying is like pulling teeth, and the yarn won't feed in, and it just like twirls around outside the orifice and gets like kinky and gross. And I posted on the Krumsky owners forum on Ravelry, and basically they give me all the advice about how to just use your wheel properly, which I was doing all that. And then they were like, well, I'm in double drive because I haven't really been able to figure out how to get Scotch tension hooked up right. It's not working out in my brain. I don't understand how it works. So I haven't been able to use Scotch tension. I'm in double drive, and a lot of people had the very enlightening but not very helpful comment of, oh yeah, I have that problem in double drive too. Just use Scotch tension to apply. Not helpful, not helpful. I know it's possible. I know that an experienced knitter would be able to do it. The only helpful advice I got was, like, really helpful to me that I didn't already know, was that you should always use the smallest whirl on the bobbin, or at the very least make sure that the whirl on your bobbin is smaller than the other whirl that you're using. So I didn't know that. I had been only using the big whirl on the bobbin. So I switched to that. And then they also said that you should really only use the big whirl to ply with, and that you should never spin singles on it. So I've been using the smaller of the whirls on the big whirl. I don't know what the ratios are. Like, it gives you the list of the ratios, but I'm math retarded and I can't really figure out which one goes to which whirl that I'm actually using. I should find a diagram. I'm sure there's a diagram somewhere that says this is this and this is this. But they're always like, the small whirl is this and whatever. I don't know what the ratios are. So yeah, so that was fun. But I haven't had any trouble so far. That's why I'm not showing you my work in progress spinning, because taking the bobbin off the wheel in the middle of a project and then having to put it back on and getting the tension exactly the same, I'm not there yet. I know experienced spinners do that all the time for their podcast, but I'm afraid. I'm not going to do that. So without further ado, I got 3 skeins, sort of, ish. And it started out as white yarn, right? I've dyed it with Kool-Aid. Amanda and I got together on last week and dyed it with Kool-Aid, and that was fun. So I have 3 skeins of sort of worsted. Or worsted bulky. This was my first ever that I spun on my wheel, and it's like worsted super bulky, and it's like 68 yards. Look at the colors. I didn't do a whole lot of research about the Kool-Aid dyeing before I started. I basically just read Fresh Stitches had a week series on Kool-Aid dyeing, and she had a couple of different posts, and I read her post. And then Knitty has a blog about it, and I really didn't even read it. I just looked at the picture, which is this really cool picture of what all of the different colors of Kool-Aid look like on yarn when it's been dyed, and so that was interesting. So yeah, so this is 68 yards, and what I did with this one is really, you just have 3 sections, and each section gets dyed a color, and that's it. And it was pretty easy. I had huge glass bowls, and I would just literally hold it like this, and I have the 3 glass bowls lined up, and I would just put it down, and I would do this one in this bowl, and then I would do this one in this bowl, and then I would do this one. You can't even see what I'm doing. I would do this one, and then I would do this one, and then I would do this one, and then I had a plate, and I would squeeze the excess out, and then put this part on the plate. And I would squeeze the excess out and put this part on the plate, and kind of keep it all together. And I also, like, the way that we did it was you put the Kool-Aid in the bowl, and then you have boiling water. I have a tea kettle, so I just have my tea kettle, and you pour the hot boiling water directly onto the dye and stir it up, and then you put your yarn in. And first of all, boiled Kool-Aid smells like candy. I've never drunk Kool-Aid as a kid. I don't even know what Kool-Aid tastes like. I'm assuming it tastes gross and sugary, but I don't know. I've never had it. It smells like candy. So then I have this. I don't even know what the yardage of this is. It was just like the extra from my first bobbin that doesn't even make sense. I don't know where this came from or why it's separate from the other stuff. It's a little bit thinner, so this is almost mostly just worsted weight, but a little bit of bulky. And I started to run out of colors, so like by the time I dyed this one, I didn't have any orange left, and it's just green on the side. And then I was running out of the blue too. I had almost no blue left, so the middle is kind of like gray. And this is my favorite one. This was my second 4 ounces, and it is so smushy and wonderful and lovely. And if I could do this again on purpose, if I could reproduce this on purpose, I would never want to get better at spinning. I mean, this is already so gorgeous. And this is what the orange looks like when you have the right amount of dye. And then like it starts to get like yellowy. And then I actually did dye this part yellow on purpose. And then the beautiful blue, and then the yellow and the blue kind of made their own like green. So this is, I forget what the yard, it's at least 100 yards, maybe a little bit more, of bulky. It's almost entirely bulky worsted. It's gorgeous. I love it. My goal, my plan, I want to knit a hat with this, and I want to knit the Thorpe hat. Because I'm a follower, the Thorpe hat is a really cool hat with ear flaps that I've always liked, and then it's just a really popular pattern to knit with handspun. Like if you ask on a forum, like, what pattern do you recommend that I use to knit my first handspun with? First handspun being code for bulky, uneven handspun, you'll get at least 10 replies that say Thorpe hat. So I'm going to do this skein as the main body of the hat. I feel like I can get most of the hat done with this. And like I want to start with the orange and then go up the colors. But it's not going to stripe. It's going to be, it's not self-striping. It's going to be like multiple, like sort of confetti variegated. But I want to do this for the main body of the hat. And then I'll do this little bit for the ear flaps. And then if I start to run out, like I'll use this to bind off or something. I don't think I'm going to actually need to knit with this. This is probably going to be like my souvenir skein that I never knit anything with. So yeah, so that's that yarn. And then I did have two skeins of fingering-ish. Before I washed it, parts of it were lace weight. And I haven't measured it since. I assume that it's gotten bigger and that it's now solidly a fingering sport. But I'll update you on that when I've actually measured it, but it's still in this form. So I have two of these, and they're about 260 yards a piece. I dyed this one first, and I was intending on using the red, because I actually wasn't intending on using the red at all, but then I ran out of the other colors and had to use the red. So I had this red, and we had a little bit of extra fruit punch that I was going to mix with the red color, which was black cherry. And so I had poured the black cherry in, and then I reached for the fruit punch and started pouring, and I accidentally grabbed the mixed berry, which is blue, and I like poured a little bit of the blue in, because the fruit punch, which is a red dye, has a blue colored packet. So I thought I was grabbing the blue packet that was red, and I actually grabbed the blue packet that was really blue. So it came out this color. And then for the second one, I was like, oh crap, I accidentally put blue in it, and I got this weird, like, actually really love this color. So now I should put blue in the second batch, because I had to put more dye in to do the second, because this like sucks up the dye. Like, it sucks up. It's really cool because if you put in too much water, like it'll suck all the dye up and then leave you with milky white or clear water, depending on the color dye. So then I did the second batch, I put in the red, and then I was like, well, I have to put in the blue too, so I poured some in. A little heavy-handed, and this one turned out purple. And I was trying to do the kettle dyed effect, so I was trying to get like different shades, but it's mostly exactly the same color everywhere, except for in this weird spot where it's like bold white. So two sort of, like they're related colors, but they're definitely not. I did that wrong. They're a nice pair. So I'm hoping to knit a small shawlette with this, and I'll probably do stripes. I really think something like the Idris shawl from the Ply magazine would be cool. Or any kind of feather and fan type pattern where you could do one feather and fan repeat with one color, and then one feather and fan repeat with the other color, and continue. I'm in stripe. So that's my current plan for these. I think that's what I'm going to do with it. Maybe. There are better pictures on my blog. You can't really see the colors. I think that's what I'm going to do with that. I don't know when though, because I have a lot of group alongs going right now. And Nerd War starts in October. I might knit it for Nerd Wars. I don't know. Have I told you about Nerd Wars? I don't know if I have. Nerd Wars is awesome. I'm starting to wind down. I don't know if I have the energy to talk about Nerd Wars. I'll talk about Nerd Wars next week. just for shits and giggles, just for fun, I did little swatches of the colors, and I thought I'd show these to you. So this one, dark blue, is, I think I have all the color packets, we'll see. This one is mixed berry, and the color is dependent not only on the fiber that you're using, but also on how long or how much of the dye goes into that spot. So like this one is the ice blue raspberry, and down here it's like kind of light, and then up here it's darker because I put more powder on that spot. But it's still basic, it's the same family. The ice blue raspberry, this is the color blue that I actually dyed my yarn. I did not use the mixed berry at all, except for when I was accidentally putting it in my red. Honestly, I have no idea which of these is which anymore. These are the different reds that we got. We had black cherry, which is the red that I used for my yarn, mixed with the mixed berry. Black cherry, I think, is probably the darker one. And then we had, this is tropical fruit punch. This is the blue that's red. This is what I thought I was pouring into my red, because it would be a red dye, but it's actually a blue packet. And so that's one. And then the other one is, we combined the tropical punch and the orange to get like a pinkish red color. And this orange is, this is what the orange looks like. And then the orange that I used on my yarn was not plain orange. I just dropped it. The orange I used on my yarn was peach mango, and the swatch got like green on it. So in case you forgot, this is what peach mango looks like. The Knitty has a post on this that has really pretty pictures. And then also the yellow is lemonade, but my yellow was also turned green. And then my green color was not even Kool-Aid. It was the Greenberry Rush Hawaiian Punch sugar-free. Works exactly the same. I would have got the Kool-Aid limeade flavor, but they were completely out at my grocery store. And I really wanted a green. I wanted to get like sort of the full spectrum. I don't know why I didn't get purple. I should have got grape. But I was like, I don't like grape drinks. I think they're disgusting. And I feel like I forgot that I was buying to dye and not buying for taste. And I was like, ew, grape, don't get that. Like, I did get this though. It's green. And this was cool because it came with 16 packets, which is why I managed to get so much green, because I used like 2 of these on just one piece of yarn. And so I think I ended up using 5 total, or well, this is the only one in the box, so I guess I used 15. And that's how I got such a dark vibrant green. And that's, if you want nice color that's the same color all the way through and is dark and is vibrant, you really need to get, well, no, it's 8 packets. I'm sorry, I'm reading the serving size. It's 8 packets, and half of a packet is a serving, which would be 16 servings. 8 packets, so I used 7 packets. You really want to get, like for this orange, this was, because I did a little bit more orange than the other one, this was the mango peach, and I took 2 packets. Then for the other orange, I had to use regular orange because the 2 packets of mango peach dyed just this section, and then that was it. It was gone. So this much orange is 2 packets. Likewise, this much blue is 2 packets. I forget what the color was called. So yeah, that is my Kool-Aid dyeing experience. Also, if you care about dyeing your hands, wear gloves. I didn't get my hands dyed, mostly because I dyed with the blue and the green, and I just don't think that stains. But also, I used a spoon to move my yarn around because it was boiling hot water, y'all. Boiling hot water. I didn't want to put my hands in that. I actually went to grab the yarn out of the bowl and wring out the water. I was like, oh, scalding water. Why am I doing this? It was fine. It was really fine. And then, clean up. I let the yarn drip dry in my shower, and I still haven't cleaned it yet. I'm not worried about staining, but it's Kool-Aid, and it's super sticky. So everything that it dripped on in my bathroom is sticky, and I still haven't scrubbed that down. Also, after the dyeing process and it dries, the yarn is like crunchy, like it still has the Kool-Aid crystals in it, you know, and it just doesn't feel like something you'd want to knit or wear. So I have rinsed this a second time and after the dyeing to get the crunchiness out, and so it's not a problem. It's cool. It's just a side effect. It's just another finishing step. So my yarn has been washed like 3 times now. So it smells like Kool-Aid. It's amazing. I think that's everything. I don't think I have anything else to say. I hope this was a good episode. I'm still working things out. I want to play around with some editing. I don't know, maybe do a text like transition between each segment, maybe playing around with the idea of doing an intro, maybe some music. I know that there are places online that have like archives of free, like create in the creative domain music that you can use on your podcast. That might be cool. I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, better lighting would be nice. An actual camera rather than my crappy 7-year-old laptop built-in eyesight would be nice. What do you call those things? Webcams. That would be nice. But I'm working on it. I hope people are watching and enjoying and commenting. Emphasis on the commenting. I think that there might be potentially in the distant future, like after Nerd Wars, a competition with prizes that involves commenting, especially by video commenting. This is because, I'm sorry about this face, it's because it's 7 in the morning and no human on their day off should be up this early. Anyway,